At first glance, K-pop Demon Hunters might seem like just a love letter to the world of K-pop, but in reality, it's much more than that. It's a true tribute to Korean culture in all its depth. Behind the film's explosive energy, there are countless hidden details that reflect today's Korea, from everyday life to the most authentic, surprising, and tradition-rooted aspects of its identity. If you've missed any references or Easter eggs, don't worry. I'm here to show you everything that turns this film into a true journey through Korean culture. So next time you watch it, it will feel like a whole new and even more amazing experience. The creators of K-pop Demon Hunters designed the film's fictional groups by drawing inspiration from real idols in the K-pop scene. The three members of Huntrix are reminiscent of famous girl groups such as ITZY, Blackpink, and TWICE, and also take cues from model An So-yeon. On this note, although the mix of inspirations is varied, in Rumi's case the reference is quite obvious. Just look at Jennie of Blackpink during the Kill This Love era to see a clear resemblance, especially in the hairstyle. Even the archetypes we see in every K-pop group have been portrayed with great accuracy. So we have Rumi as leader, main vocalist, Mira, main dancer, lead rapper, vocalist, visual, and finally Zoe, main rapper, lyricist, vocalist, and of course, maknae. Oh, and about maknae, this is the Korean term used to refer to the youngest member of a group, or more generally, the youngest in a family. The different trios of hunters that have appeared throughout the ages are another neat nod to K-pop, or more broadly, to the evolution of pop music in Korea since the 1920s and 30s. The forerunner of K-pop, known as Korean popular music, is in fact trot in Korean, which emerged between the 1920s and 1930s during the Japanese occupation of Korea from 1910 to 1945. Another neat detail, this time connected to the 1950s and 60s, is the possible inspiration the creators may have drawn from the Kim Sisters, a group that rose to fame during that era and was, in fact, the first in Korean history to release an album in the American pop market. Similarly, the members of the demonic boy band Saja Boys are archetypes inspired by male groups such as BTS, TXT, Stray Kids, Big Bang, 80s, Monsta X, and many others. Here too, director Maggie Kang explained that she included the classic roles found in boy bands: romance, the romantic member recognizable by his heart-shaped bangs; Abby, the muscular member known for his abs, hence the name from his muscles; Mystery, the mysterious member whose face we never see and whose charm particularly sweeps little Zoe off her feet; Baby, the maknae and rapper of the group. The leader of the Saja Boys, Chinu, is openly inspired by the sophisticated charm of actor idols Cha Eun-woo and Nam Joo-hyuk. The result is the quintessential Korean idol look: dark hair, perfectly sculpted features, and a hairstyle you could easily spot while walking through the streets of Seoul. On top of that, it deliberately embodies the archetype of a K-drama lead: brooding good looks, a tormented heart, and a romantic aura. As for the voice of the Saja Boys leader, Chinu, the voice acting is done by actor An Yo-sop, already well known for his romantic roles in various K-dramas. The singing voice, however, is performed by Andrew Choi. The soundtrack, an integral part of the storyline, was crafted with meticulous attention to detail. The creators worked with the Black Label and Teddy Park, producer for 2NE1 and Blackpink, to ensure maximum authenticity in the songs. Many of the film's songs give a playful nod to K-pop history. For instance, Soda Pop by the Saja Boys echoes, both in name and sound, the bubbly hits of H.O.T., the legendary 90s boy band, as well as many other bubblegum K-pop tracks. Some examples include Speaking of K-pop, one of the most famous girl groups, contributed directly to the soundtrack. Take Down, the film's diss track, is performed by Jonghyun, Jihyo, and Chaeyoung of TWICE. In the end credits, there's even footage of the three idols in the studio recording the song, a delightful Easter egg for the group's fans. Another K-pop flavored gem is Love Maybe, the soundtrack from the hit K-drama Business Proposal, which plays in the background when Rumi first sees Jinwoo. This scene perfectly mirrors the classic slow-motion moment from romantic dramas, but with an ending that flips the usual tropes of the hands-on perfect gentleman coming to a woman's rescue. It's worth noting that the nod to the world of K-dramas, and in particular to Business Proposal, is actually twofold. An Hyo-seop, the voice actor for Jinwoo, is well known for playing the rich male lead in the popular drama Business Proposal. Continuing with K-pop, there are even more fun facts to uncover. How It's Done, the energetic track that introduces our heroines, Huntrix, is clearly inspired by the most powerful songs from Blackpink. In particular, it seems to reference How You Like That. Golden, the main track, and also the song that at the time of making this video is literally stuck in everyone's head, seems to draw inspiration from the sound of IVE, particularly their track I Am. Moreover, in the IVE music video, it's almost impossible not to notice the parallel to the opening scene where the Huntrix jump out of the plane after the first battle with the demons. Speaking of the singer who voiced the protagonist Rumi, Kim Eun-jae, better known as EJ, is a Korean-American artist famous in the K-pop world for writing a bunch of big hits for names like Red Velvet, Psycho, one of my favorite songs from the group, aespa, Drama, another personal favorite, hey, thanks EJ, Taeyeon, TWICE, and Mix, LE SSERAFIM, Kepler, and many more. I think it's safe to say it's finally her time to shine in the spotlight. On top of that, Netflix has already confirmed that the song Golden will be submitted for the Best Original Song category at the 2026 Oscars. The Easter eggs and K-pop references scattered throughout KDH are truly countless. In one scene, for instance, you can even spot posters of the band Meow and TWICE hanging on the walls. After the film's opening scene, the Huntrix manager Bobby shows the top 10 chart on his phone, with TWICE in second place with Strategy, a song we also hear just a few minutes earlier. It's a detail meant to highlight Rumi's strategy, announcing the new single Golden to dominate the charts and speed up the creation of the Honmoon. And right now, all the songs from K-pop Demon Hunters, Golden, How It's Done, What It Sounds Like, Take Down, Free, Soda Pop, and Your Idol are dominating major music platforms worldwide, including Spotify, YouTube Music, Apple Music, Melon, and the Billboard charts. In short, it's a true global chart domination. The references to the entire world surrounding K-pop are also depicted with remarkable accuracy. Festivals, TV appearances, variety shows, fan-signing events, and comebacks to keep a band's popularity high are the daily bread of anyone following this world. In K-pop Demon Hunters, they're portrayed with great attention to detail and remarkably accurate references. The Saja Boys, for example, take part in a show where they engage in a rather silly competition, a hot sauce drinking endurance challenge. This is an obvious nod to programs like Weekly Idol and Idol Room, and it's worth noting the resemblance of the hosts too. A little later in the same scene, we see the Huntrix make their entrance in a rather unique way. This is another nod to a KBS TV show called 안녕하세요, Hello Counselor, where guests make their entrance by sliding straight into a ball pit. Another gem from the same scene is the Huntrix outfit choice. For their mission to finally take down the demonic Saja boys, they go for a very dark and edgy look. This style seems inspired by one of ITZY's biggest hits. Just take a look at the Mafia in the Morning music video to see the resemblance. The battle for the top spot in the charts between the film's bands is a scene that feels very familiar to K-pop fans. In fact, there are several shows where you can witness exactly the same dynamic, such as SBS Inkigayo, MBC Music Core, and Mnet's M Countdown. The Idol Awards we see in the movie are clearly inspired by events such as the Mama Awards and the MMA Awards. Another interesting tidbit comes from the film's original concepts. Initially, there was supposed to be a sports competition between idols, much like the famous Idol Star Athletic Championship.
표정도 좋아요. 자,
너무 예쁘죠.
두 발 남았어요.
네, 9점. 예쁘죠.
두 발 남았어요.
네, 9점. 흔들리지 않죠.
저희가
자,
말씀드렸죠. 이 트와이스의 에이스입니다.
승부는 결정이 난 것 같습니다.
지금
네.
20점 차이가 나고 있습니다. 예.
괜찮다면서
축제예요.
끝까지 또 응원을 해주고
But this idea was scrapped and replaced with the fun signing event, as it was considered something the international audience might not be as familiar with. It's worth noting that one of the dialogues between Rumi and Chino was originally set to take place in that context. The movie is a true love letter to the world of idols, packed with realistic details about Korean fan culture. The audience depicted in K-pop Demon Hunters mirrors real-life fandoms. In the concert scenes, we see crowds of fans wearing their idols' t-shirts, showing tattoos, holding signs to cheer for their bias, waving glowing light sticks, screaming, crying tears of joy, and singing along, just like at a real K-pop show. Even the social media and the news coverage in the film faithfully reflect the real K-pop scene. For example, we see fans taking part in dance challenges to recreate the choreography of the hit Soda Pop by the Saja Boys, as well as fan comments from all over the world celebrating the release of Golden by Huntrix.
It's the story of us.
In keeping with idol tradition, even the fictional fandoms have symbolic names. Fans of the Saja Boys proudly call themselves Pride, meaning a pride of lions, since Saja in Korean means lion. Just like every real K-pop group gives its fanbase a unique and meaningful name.
Worldwide icon of the year.
It was also revealed that the fans of Huntrix are called Hunters, an obviously fitting name and the perfect counterpart to the Saja Boys' Pride of Lions. Another detail that makes the portrayal of K-pop fans so accurate is the variety of ages. You can see fans from all generations, from kids to cheerful Ajuma, the middle-aged women of the movie. And on top of that, the movie perfectly captures the way fans love to ship their favorite idols. At one point, for example, we even see a fan wearing a t-shirt with a wild Rugino couple design. Even the band's merch takes inspiration from real groups. For example, Huntrix have tuned versions of their members, just like New Jeans once had Powerpuff Girls versions inspired by the band. The same goes for the Twice single Takedown recorded for the movie, whose cover features cartoon versions of the three members, Chongyeon, Jiho, and Chaeyoung. One of the most remarkable aspects of the movie is how it blends pop aesthetics with traditional Korean elements, from costumes to props. The members of Huntrix, for example, wear modern idol-style outfits paired with norige, ornamental pendants traditionally worn with hanbok, incorporated into their looks in a fresh, contemporary way. To find another examples of this clear intent to incorporate distinctive Korean cultural elements into K-pop, we can once again look at Blackpink, who in the How You Like That music video showcase stunning hanbok reimagined in a modern, pop-infused style. And for a boy band example, take Stray Kids. In their Sorikun Thunderous music video, the title, lyrics and visuals are packed with Korean tradition, all mixed with a cool modern twist. On this note, another interesting detail emerged, once again thanks to the movie's concept art. It appears that during the intense final battle, Rumi, Zoe and Mira were originally meant to wear vibrant hanboks, making the fusion between K-pop and Korean tradition even more striking. Who knows if this concept will be revisited in a potential sequel. Honestly, I found these concept artworks and hanbok design really cool. What do you think? In any case, when it comes to costumes, there's absolutely nothing to complain about. Just like real K-pop bands, Huntrix showcase multiple concepts, each one completely different from the others. They start with a more street style, incorporating Norige as a nod to traditions as we have already seen, then move to casual outfits perfect for blending into the streets of Seoul. There are also comfy looks with hoodies, leggings and trendy sneakers, followed by the total black Kill Saja Boys mod outfit. Finally, there's the iconic outfit for the Golden Single promotion where gold is paired with black and white. And here's a little gem that proves no detail was left to chance. In the film's finale, this very outfit evolves when Rumi stops hiding her elf demon nature and her bandmates fully embrace it. Only then is their true potential unlocked, and their costumes shift to all white with stunning prismatic decorations for Zoe and Mira that perfectly match Rumi's demonic patterns. Even the new Honmoon changes color from gold to holographic prismatic, symbolizing unity and togetherness. And yeah, this is what it sounds like. The Saja Boys are no less impressive when it comes to outfits, showing off different looks for various concepts. When they first appear, and again during the final Your Idol performance, they wear black hanboks with traditional Korean hats called kap, a look that instantly evokes the Choseong Saja, the Grim Reaper from Korean folklore. They then switch to a colorful bubblegum pop concept for the street performance of Soda Pop, followed by an all-pink romantic look during the TV show segment with the Spicy Sauce Challenge. Another striking outfit is seen at the Idol Awards. The deep eggplant color, in sharp contrast to the bright tones of Soda Pop, hints at the band's dark intentions and hides yet another clue to their true nature. The decorative patterns on their clothes subtly mirror the demonic markings concealed beneath. Yet another example of the meticulous attentions to detail in K-pop Demon Hunters. Sticking with tradition, we can't skip the instrument Jinwoo plays, the pipa, an ancient Korean 4-string lute with a distinctive pear-shaped body. It's been around since the Joseon era over 400 years ago, and it's yet another hint about both Jinwoo's origins and his venerable age. Continuing with instruments, Rumi's guitar has a fascinating detail. Its decorations are made of mother of pearl or tage, a traditional Korean material with centuries-old roots. Even today in Korea, you'll see tables, furniture, mirrors, boxes, and more decorated using the Najeon Chilgi technique, where Najeon means mother of pearl. The play of colors and iridescent reflections from this material perfectly echo the prismatic shades of the girls' final white outfits and the updated version of the Honmoon. The heroine's arsenal is also deeply rooted in Korean culture. Rumi wields a sword called Saincham Sagom, also known as the Four Tigers Sword, a ceremonial blade forged during the astronomical cycle of the tiger. The name refers to swords made when the tiger cycle overlaps 4 times, in the hour of the tiger, 3 to 5 am, on the day of the tiger, in the month of the tiger, and in the year of the tiger. In Korean tradition, tigers are believed to carry strong yang, positive energy, granting them the power to ward off evil spirits. Sounds like a pretty perfect weapon for fighting demons, right? Mira fights with a pole arm inspired by the Woldo, literally moon blade, a type of curved halberd once used in ancient Korea. If you're curious to see martial arts demonstrations with these and other traditional weapons, you can find them at the top of Mount Namsan, right next to the Ensol Tower, an experience you definitely shouldn't miss. Zoe, on the other hand, wields Shin Kair, literally God's knives, inspired by those found in the Mengtu ritual sets used by the shamans from Jeju Island. In the past, these sacred knives played a role in exorcism and divination rites. It's a fascinating touch that adds even more depth to the film's connection with the traditional Korean practices. All these little details really show how much love and effort went into packing the movie with cultural Easter eggs, from the choreography to the props, all built on a solid base of Korean mythology and folklore. K-pop Demon Hunters isn't just packed with modern pop references, it's also full of nods to Korean folklore and mythology, all naturally woven into the story and world building. Let's take a look at some of the most interesting ones. The very concept of the Demon Hunters is deeply rooted in Korean shamanic tradition. At the start of the movie, we learn about an ancient trio of women who, through song and dance, sealed demons beyond the magical portal, the Honmun. Exactly what Mudang, Korean shamans, have done for centuries, serving as intermediaries between the world of the living and the spirit realm. Maggie Kang explained that she wanted to anchor the mythology to something already existing within Korean culture, namely shamanism, and found it fitting that historically Mudang were mostly women. In the movie, this is reflected in the character of Rumi, heir to a matriarchal lineage of hunters. Like the shamans in the legend, Rumi carries a special heritage and a blood connection to the spirit world. These elements aren't fully spelled out for the audience, but they add cultural depth. In the flashback, we catch glimpses of rituals inspired by good shamanic ceremonies, with women in traditional attire singing to ward off evil, as well as Mudangchum, the traditional shamanic dances. It's a detail that those familiar with Korean culture can truly appreciate, turning the idea of idol demon hunters into a modern metaphor for shamans who use music and dance to protect their communities. Another key figure in the movie is the Choseung Saja. The Choseung Saja is the Korean counterpart of the Grim Reaper, the guide who escorts souls to the afterlife. Choseung literally means other world, as opposed to Iseung, this world, meaning our world, the world of the living, while Saja means messenger but also lion. The film pays homage to this figure through the Saja boys, both in their first appearance and especially during their demonic transformation in the final act. In these moments, they wear black hanboks and traditional hats, cut, perfectly matching the classic iconography of the Korean Reaper seen in many folk tales and modern K-dramas, such as my beloved Dokkaebi. A quick note, in folk stories, Choseung Saja are not evil entities. Their role is simply to escort the souls of the deceased to the other world without causing harm. Another fun detail for fans, since Saja also means lion in Korean, in the film the Saja Boys fan club is called Pride, a play on words between pride, so honor, and pride as a group of lions. This is also why the band's logo is a lion. K-pop Demon Hunters also fills its world with many other entities inspired by traditional Korean folklore. Many of the lesser demons faced by Rumi and their teammates resemble Dokkaebi, the mischievous goblins of Korean mythology. In traditional lore, Dokkaebi are spirits or deities with extraordinary powers, which they use to interact with humans, sometimes to help them, other times to play pranks. There are many different types and forms of Dokkaebi, but in the film they appear in a style close to their most classic depiction. Some of them are even shown wielding the Dokkaebi Panmangi, the distinctive magical club associated with these beings. Alongside the Dokkaebi, we also see actual Quishin, the ghost of deceased people with lingering regrets. One standout scene takes place in a Mogyoktang, so a public bathhouse, where the heroines face off against Mul Quishin, or water ghost. Mul literally means water. These spectral figures with long disheveled hair and bluish skin rise from the bath pools to attack the protagonists. The Mul Quishin comes straight from Korean folklore, where the spirits of those who drown try to drag others underwater. Another clear nod to traditional Korean ghost stories. Another eerie apparition is inspired by the Dalgyal Quishin, the so-called egg ghost with no faces. In the film, we see a lot of them in a train scene, one of my personal favorites, depicted as specters with smooth, purplish skin and no facial features at all. This figure is based on the folk belief in faceless or limbless ghosts, which says that anyone who encounters a neck ghost dies instantly. Without descendants to perform Chesa, traditional ancestral memorial rites, these spirits gradually lose all the humanity and personality they once had, doomed to a miserable existence in the afterlife. Fortunately, in the movie, the title questions aren't quite that terrifying, otherwise it might have been an R-rated movie. Now we get to what have become the beloved mascots of the movie, the tiger and the magpie, in Korean, tiger 호랑이, magpie 까치. Derpy, genus blue spirit tiger, and Sassy, the six-eyed magpie, are among the most delightful cultural Easter egg in K-pop Demon Hunters. This quirky duo is directly inspired by a famous theme in Korean folk art, minhwa paintings of the Hojakdo or Jakhodo. Jak means magpie, Ho, tiger, and Do means painting, scenes of a tiger and a magpie. In popular prints from Joseon period, this pair appears frequently, a tiger sitting and a magpie perched on a pine branch. It was considered a lucky charm. The tiger would ward off evil spirits, while the magpie brought good news. Over time, the motif also took on a satirical tone. The tiger, symbolizing the aristocracy, was drawn in a clumsy, ridiculous way, while the small magpie, symbolizing common people, looked down at it, laughing.
Okay, so I've been meaning to ask, why does the bird wear a tiny hat?
I made it for the tiger, but the bird keeps taking it.
The movie pays brilliant tribute to this tradition. Derpy has a goofy look with crossed eyes and silly expression, while Sassy is lively and mischievous. Design-wise, the tiger is colored in a vivid blue to give it a magical aura, and the magpie has 6 eyes, 3 on each side, to emphasize that it's no ordinary bird but a supernatural being. This feature may also be inspired by another legendary Korean creature, the Samjogo, the three-legged crow, a symbol of the sun and with powers even greater than a dragon. The movie's main antagonist is Quima, the supreme demon who plots to feed on the souls of fans. While created specifically for the story, his name is far from random. In Korean, the 2 syllables mean evil spirit, Hui is a ghost specter, and demon, Ma means malevolent entity. When reversed, they form Magwi, which literally means devil or evil spirit. In the film, Quima also serves as a metaphor for personal demons, that inner voice of shame and regret that whispers about one's failures and flaws, encouraging self-destructive behavior as a way to avoid facing the truth. He also embodies the darker, predatory side of the K-pop industry. Quima seeks out talented yet desperate artists like Jinu, offering them power and success by promoting their music. In the end, it drives them to abandon loved ones and family, humiliating and breaking them down until they believe their only option is to serve him. At the same time, he presents the public with flawless, alluring idols, convincing fans that idol worship is a good choice. But when these hypnotized fans literally throw themselves into his jaws, the truth is revealed. Quima doesn't care about them, just as the industry doesn't care about fan obsessions as long as it generates profit. Fun fact: Lee Byung-hun, one of South Korea's most iconic actors, voices Quima. Many know him from the global hit Squid Game, where he plays the frontman. But he's also the lead in one of my all-time favorite K-dramas, Mr. Sunshine. The last prominent traditional element that appears multiple times in the movie is the Ilworobongdo, literally sun, moon, 5 peaks and painting. This painting was a royal symbol, always placed behind the king's throne in places representing his authority and the wish for the dynasty's eternal prosperity. In the film, it can be spotted in several moments. First, during the music videos for Antrix Golden, where Rumi sits on a perfect replica of a Korean royal throne, with the Ilworobongdo clearly visible behind her. It appears again during the group's performance at the Idol Awards, with an interesting detail. The water in the painting, which is traditionally blue, is shown here in gold. This not only directly references the song Golden, but also symbolizes the golden flow of the Hun moon up to that point in the movie. K-pop Demon Hunters also deserves a shout out for all the little nods to Korean cuisine sprinkled throughout the story. Director Maggie Kang, being proudly Korean, wanted to show the country's food in an authentic way, but with a few unexpected twists. Her first rule for the team: no kimchi in the spotlight. She loves it, of course, but wanted to avoid the cliché that every Korean production has to feature it in front and center. So, while kimchi does pop up as a side dish on characters' tables, just like it would in any real Korean meal, especially in the sets of side dishes called banchan, it's never the star of the show, or even mentioned outright. Instead, the film shines a light on other traditional dishes that international audiences might not know so well, turning them into little culinary Easter eggs for sharp-eyed viewers to spot. The idol demon hunter protagonists are constantly eating, a recurring gag that perfectly reflects Korean culture, where it's extremely common to see characters enjoying generous portions of food, both in dramas and in online content. In Korea, mukbang videos are hugely popular. These feature content creators reviewing and devouring massive amounts of food, turning mealtime into a true performance. K-pop Demon Hunters features plenty of scenes like this. One of the most memorable comes right at the start, aboard the plane, where Rumi, Mira and Zoe indulge in a hearty pre-battle feast. Spread out on the tray table in front of them is a true buffet of Korean travel comfort food: kimbap, rice rolls filled with vegetables, eggs and meat; sundae, Korean blood sausage; balls of rice, the konkippap; hard-boiled eggs; shrimp crackers, seukgang; instant ramyeon cups, which the girls prepare mid-battle following the instructions on the packaging, clearly reminiscent of the Korean brand Chillamyeon. It's worth noting the attention to detail in using the Korean term ramyeon rather than the Japanese ramen. Odeng soup, fish cake skewers in broth, sweet hot dog pancakes, and even naengmyeon served in the traditional steel bowl. It's practically a full Korean convenience store menu, presented with an impressive eye for detail. From labels to packaging, everything is faithfully recreated, making it easy for Korean audiences to recognize familiar brands and everyday details. Even the green plates, the classic set used for tteokbokki, are perfectly replicated. Another memorable moment comes after an exhausting practice session when Rumi loses her voice. The girls decide to comfort her by sharing a steaming bowl of solongtang, served in traditional stone bowls. Solongtang is a rich broth made by simmering beef bones for hours. It's considered an energy-boosting and comforting dish in Korean culture. In this scene, it becomes a true culinary hug, a gesture of care and warmth to help Rumi recover. Maggie Kang revealed that she personally insisted on including solongtang in the scene, as it's one of her favorite dishes. When Koreans think of comfort food, they think of warm tang, soup, the director explained, emphasizing that this moment was meant to convey warmth and affection through food, almost like a silent hug between the protagonists. Similarly, naengmyeon, cooled noodles served in broth, was not chosen at random. This dish originates from North Korea and was included in the film as a tribute to the North Korean family roots of both Kang and co-director Appelhans, who each have parents or in-laws from the north. Another foodie gem appears in the scene where the Saja Boys perform on the street of what seems to be a location inspired by Myeongdong Street. This district is famous not only as a K-beauty hotspot, but also for its countless street vendors. And it's right here that Chinu serves a fan the iconic Korean corn dog, Kamja hot dog, from one of the classic street food stalls. Unfortunately, our beloved Huntrix don't take it all that well. Lastly, there's another small yet spot-on detail, once again in the scene where the girls share a bowl of solongtang. It's common in Korea to place a napkin under the cutlery, and I've even picked up the habit myself. I do it automatically every time I set the table for my Korean friends. It's one of those subtle touches that only a few might notice, but it perfectly shows the film's meticulous effort to portray Korean culture, even in the simplest everyday gesture. The film features two more foodies gems in particularly special moments. One during the flashback showing Chinu's life in the Joseon era, and the other in the end credits. In the flashback, among the various traditional dishes, we spot yakgwa, a classic Korean flower-shaped sweet. In the credits instead, we get a fun treat. The cartoon version of Mira sipping the famous banana-flavored milk, banana mat uyu, a beloved drink in Korea and a staple in every convenience store across the country. In short, food itself becomes a cultural bridge. K-pop Demon Hunters will have you craving authentic Korean dishes, From the iconic snacks we have all seen a million times in K-dramas to traditional favorites that are far less known. None of it comes with captions or explanations, but the accuracy is so spot on that Korean viewers must have felt right at home. And by the way, all my Korean friends can't stop talking about it. And beyond adding local flavors to the setting, these choices generally celebrate Korea's culinary culture in a way that feels real and engaging. To wrap up, rather than another fun fact, I want to leave you with a personal thought. Maggie Kang called K-pop Demon Hunters a love letter to K-pop and its Korean roots, and you can truly feel that on screen. The film is a vibrant blend of entertainment and cultural heritage, and within the Honmun, the spirit gate, lies a symbol of unity and togetherness, the key to overcoming dark times and, just like in the movie, defeating our own demons. It reminds me of the Korean concept of Chong, that deep emotional and psychological bond made of affection, care and loyalty, born from the sense of we, 우리 in Korean. It's the same spirit that unites the Huntrix and in real life has helped Korea get through its hardest times. So guys, I really hope that the spirit of Chong continues to grow not just in Korea but in everyone that will visit this beautiful country. And of course today a special thought goes to the 80th anniversary of Korea's Liberation Day, such a special day that will be celebrated on 15th August 2025, and of course an anniversary of priceless value. So also let me know in the comment if you knew everything about Korean mythology, folklore, or what was your favorite Easter egg about the movie. And if you like the video, please leave a like. Remember to subscribe to the channel and also activate the notifications if you want to follow my adventures live around the city. For today is everything, guys. Bye bye. 안녕. Ciao.